Hi, Chris Evans.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome. And are you a big Watch fan?
I am, yeah. And IWCs have always been ones that catch my eye on a consistent basis. Anytime I see them, like, what is that? It's IWC, man, they make good stuff.
They do make good stuff. Okay, and you're clearly really busy, not only in IWC Day, but in your acting life. So, did you know you're like the most popular one on Tumblr at the moment with Zendaya in the world? Did you know that?
Someone told me that.
That's quite good.
It's great. That's, I'll take it.
Yeah. And Captain America, so you've done, with Marvel, you've done 6 movies, right, with Marvel?
Is it 6? Yeah, I think it's 6.
But
yeah.
That's not all Captain Americas, so you have more to do.
Yeah, a couple more. We have 2 more. We have the Avengers 3 and 4 that we don't start till I think November, in like 6 or 7 months.
Okay. So when you've got something that big coming up, mind you, with you it's difficult because you're always doing it. So do you just stay in the role kind of in the back of your mind consistently, or do you let it go mentally, physically?
You certainly let it go physically. It's tough to stay in that sort of shape. So that's the most daunting part at this stage, is getting yourself back to the physique, because the role itself, the character, you find a comfort with, you find an understanding. After the first couple rounds of playing him, what you're still trying to make sure the fans don't boycott your movies because of how poorly you portrayed them.
I mean, they really care.
They
so
do.
You have a big responsibility on your shoulders.
Yeah, rightfully so. I mean, this is a comic book that's been around for decades, and people grew up on them, and it's not a movie that you can take on such an intimate journey. There are people that you have to involve in the process, and people's reactions matter. So that daunting task was tackled essentially in 2010, 11, 12. By the second Captain America, I felt pretty comfortable in his shoes, and now it feels like old hat, and now it's just fun and exciting to see where he's going to go.
It does look really exciting, to be honest. When I see you all with that crew, you get to hang out with that fun group of people. It all seems like you love each other, have a really good time.
We do. We're making good movies too. I think it'd be harder if the product wasn't something we were proud of. But Marvel has a winning formula, and we all get along so well, and it really is, I mean, blessing is an understatement. And
how did Marvel actually happen for you?
Luckily, it was one of those things that kind of, at first, when I first heard about Captain America, and I was like, oh, they're doing Captain America? I got to do this. You got to get me an audition. And at first, they weren't even considering me, just because I had played the Human Torch years prior in Fantastic Four. And then for whatever reason, Kevin Feige kind of came my way and said, listen, I think you might be right for this. And then I got cold feet, and was intimidated by the commitment and where I wanted my life to go in terms of acting, and how I was relating to the requirements of films of that nature. And it was a little bit of a dance, but ultimately I jumped on board, and it was the best decision of my life.
Okay, and aside from Marvel, so you directed 1 movie. I
did.
Are you keen to, I mean, it's difficult to fit in with your schedule, I get it, but are you keen to go in that direction, or was 1 directing movie enough? Oh
no, I can't wait to do it again. But it's really, the sophomore effort needs to really be different. The first time around, I was just happy to direct anything. I just wanted to get my feet wet, and this project was available, and I was just, again, grateful just to have an opportunity to take a crack at it. For the second time around, it really has to be something unique, I suppose. So it's been a bit more of a meticulous process trying to find the right project, and it's tough. I mean, it's tough. If there was more good material, there'd be more good movies. So it's really hard trying to find something that not only is great, but that you connect to personally.
Mm-hmm. And for you, if you hadn't gone into acting, everyone always asks these questions,
sure.
but you have done this so well and so quickly. If Marvel hadn't happened, well, before go back from the very beginning, was there anything else you wanted to do?
Yeah, I really wanted to be an animator initially.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when I was younger, I was really into cartoons, and I loved Disney, and I just thought that, I grew up in the time when they first started incorporating computers, and I remember the first time it was a real, because I grew up on, hand-drawn cell animation, and all of a sudden they were doing these really amazing things, and it just really piqued my interest, and I just like storytelling in that format. And
who's your greatest teacher? Who teaches you? Who do you look at? What movies do you observe, or practitioners, or your grandpa, or whoever who really teaches you?
Sure. It's a good question. I mean, I guess it's so cliche to say your parents, but the older you get, the more you look at your parents as people and not just your parents. They continue to teach you lessons even long after you've moved out of the house. You know, when you really start to kind of, every life experience you go through, when you say, man, my parents must have gone through this, and God, they really didn't bleed on me in that fashion, and I can't believe they must have had struggles here, and they must have been confused about that, and that must have been a challenge, and you continue to kind of learn from them based on how they handled themselves and how the childhood they gave me. So I guess, you know, like I said, it's cliche, but I'll say my parents.
Okay, and who taught you to act?
I mean, it's tough. You probably get that from watching movies, but my mother is very theatrical in her life. As a woman, as a human, she's very grand. And
maybe that could be the next movie.
Oh, they've made movies about my mother.
You have a big family, you have siblings. Do they all join you on the red carpets and all these things as you go around, or are they a bit over that and they just treat you like the normal brother?
They've gone to a few red carpets. They're a little over that. You know what I mean? It's kind of like old news to them. It's more of a chore than anything else.
Yeah. Not for you, though.
No, I still get a kick out of it.
Yeah, it's fun. And if you're looking back over all Marvel, directing your own movies, everything you've done, what have been some of the kind of real highlights? Like countries that you've been to that you never were before?
Sure. I always like moments when we all get to stand on some sort of a stage with the whole Marvel cast, the whole Avengers crew. So many good actors.
So many good ones.
You're like,
I actually watched a clip with you guys on a Jimmy Kimmel show.
All right.
And I mean, that could have just been a whole movie for me if you all just chatting away with each other.
Yeah, they're just, because you forget sometimes, and then, you know, you're like, wait, you're Mark Ruffalo. You're one of the best actors, but you're just Mark, and it's really nice. It's a blessing.
And you do all chat to each other on WhatsApp or whatever in between the movie shooting?
Yeah, sure. We all stay in touch, absolutely. That's the thing. It doesn't feel like, well, I don't want to reduce Hollywood to this state, but I would say it's not a typical movie relationship where your buddy's on set and then you vanish. We're in each other's lives, and we're all really good friends, and making the movies is incredibly time-consuming, and you're with these people typically not in your home city, so you're kind of around each other a lot.
Yeah.
And then the promotion of the films, it's just, you know, you can't help but become a family.
But it just seems like the best family you could have.
We got lucky.
I would like Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo, Jeremy Renner, everyone in one family.
Hemsworth, Scarlett. It's just really, it's an embarrassment of riches, and it's again, blessings and understatement.
And do you think you'll ever are you interested in theatre? Will you ever go back to kind of the real bare basics of the stage?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think you got to broach that one with a certain amount of respect. You know, it's like, whenever you try and cross a line as an artist, I think you have to respect that art form you're dipping into. And I think as a film actor, to just be like, and now I'm on Broadway, I think it just, you know, I think I'd have to earn my stripes a little bit, maybe, you know, off Broadway doing something. But I'd love to get back on the stage. I think that'd be great.
And do you go to the theatre yourself? Do you have time?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the best.
I do. It is.
It's the best. It's the best. And I wanted to ask you, when you're training, how do you, I mean, clearly you have to stay really focused in terms of training for physically, but also for mentally, because I know the films that you've been doing are so physical.
Sure. And
require so much action as well as dialogue. What's your process for focusing before you go on set? Are you meditational, or are you calling your mom?
Well, it's tricky because those Marvel films, there's a lot of downtime. You know, you work on a smaller film like Before We Go, you know, you're going to do 10, 12 pages of dialogue in a day. Marvel, you're lucky if you get through half a page. So I think,
so interesting.
Yeah, that's why those movies take, 6 months to shoot, and Before We Go is 6 weeks. Not even. So, I mean, it's a matter of just trying to stay focused and not let the kind of dips in energy affect your focus.
Yeah. Okay, Chris Evans, acting is
my hobby.
My favorite movie is
Legends of the Fall. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor. It's such a good
It's really good.
So good.
It's really good.
It's underestimated.
Okay, I would never go out without
mince.
Life is all about
family.
My advice to young actors is
be strong.
I would most like to meet
Eckhart Tolle.
I want to spend the most possible time with
My family.
If I could turn back time, I would.
Man, I thought of like 9 bad jokes that I can't say. Oh man, there's so many things I want to say, but man, if I could turn back time, I wouldn't change a thing.
Great. Okay, that's a good answer. I can always spare 10 minutes for
Seinfeld.
Seinfeld. And the most inspirational thing somebody ever said to me is?
Someone ever said to me. God, that's tough. Probably wasn't something they said to me. Maybe something I read.
Eckhart.
Yeah, it's got to be something like that. I mean, what's the most inspirational thing? You're not your thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great.